Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
And your Messiah has come home once again on this. Actually, it started out as a pretty murky, yucky, icky Monday, June 17th, but it actually cleared up pretty good, and I am so grateful it is not pouring outside like every weatherman predicted. I hope the rest of the week it does not rain because I have so much stuff to do this week. Oy vey. This Wednesday, the return after like a year and a half of the Cyclone variety show. Once again, I will be taping. As long as nothing goes wrong, which, let's face it, things always seem to go wrong. Okay, so I've teased this enough. I've made a promise. Got to keep my promise because that's what I do. I'm a good guy. I keep my promises. I keep my word. Susan Walker, your answer has finally come. Sorry it's taken so long. Okay, so during Bellator 222 week, I was able to speak to Scott Coker's second in command, Rich Chow, and I asked him, what do they do with the mats after a card is over? And surprisingly, I didn't know this answer, and when I heard it, I should have known it. I don't know why I didn't. It's common sense. He said they do a bunch of different things with those cage mats. He said sometimes they just toss them, which, I don't know. I think next time I see Rich Chow, I'm going to be like, listen, if you're going to throw one out, could pass it along to me. I'd love to get my hands on a mat. But main sponsors get them. They're given to some charity sometimes. So those are the general answers. Like I said, that should be common sense. And as far as the UFC is concerned, there's one other thing that they do, and that's they give them to card companies like Topps, and I don't believe Upper Deck does UFC cards, but like Topps will, slice them up and make relic cards out of a mat. So those are all your answers. What happens to a mat after a card? Although, like I said, I think next time I see Rich Chow, I might hit him up for one if they're going to toss it, I don't get bloody or not. I'll gladly take it. So yeah, there's your answer. Now, I need you guys to share this. I really, really do. On a lot of platforms now, so I need you guys to start spreading the word. You're watching, just click share. It's really simple, really easy. Just do it for me, please. Check out CycloneComedy.com, and you can see where and when you can watch the Cyclone Variety Show, and so much more. check out Psyche Prods on Facebook, where you can be as hot as Bernard Joseph Green entering one of these raffles. Okay, he is like red hot right now. Don't know if he's going to win later today with this, but who knows? I want you guys to also check out effectiveaggression.com. Please. Great site, helping out some major charities. Easy purchase. Get something for yourself. Get something for someone you like. Get something for someone you don't like. Get someone for someone you don't know. Just say, here, I did a good deed. I bought something and I want to give it to you. But check out effectiveaggression.com. Now, we got lots of fun segments, and I am telling you, this show, questions are going to be answered. Questions are not going to be answered. It's all questions, questions, questions. Like the Joker from Batman, a bunch of question marks all over the place. Which actually would have been a nice graphic if I would have made it. Gotta remember for next time. But like I said, we got lots of questions. And when we come back, we're going to start this whole shing-ding party off with some of the sweet science from this past weekend. Right after this.
This is Frank Edgar.
This is the Barbarian Tim Bosch.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman. Chuck it up. If you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
Okie dokie, smokies. Okay, let's start with this whole Tyson Fury thing. First of all, obviously he comes out in Vegas doing the whole Apollo Creed, red, white, and blue thing. I don't know if his mates in England are all too thrilled with that move. I mean, look, Gypsy King could do whatever the hell he wants, but the fact of the matter is, I don't necessarily know. If I would have gone with the Apollo Creed, remember, Apollo dies. Maybe if he would come out, like in Rocky colors, or hell, even Clubber Lang colors, might have been a better choice. But he came out in Stars and Stripes, easily smoking Tom Schwartz. Next fight is either in September, October, and it's going to be in Madison Square Garden. And here's the thing. Yeah, you have to beat the guys that are in front of you. And look, Tom Schwartz is a far cry from a challenge for someone like Tyson Fury. But here's the thing. And let's go over what Tyson did good. Solid jab for the round in just under 2 full rounds. It was stopped 6 seconds left. Which, look, the ref could have let it go another 6 seconds. It would have been probably another 4 punches to the head. Let him see a third round. I don't know. There's no way he would have gone to a 4th round. If he lets it go, it definitely ends in the 3rd round. No questions asked. Like I said, Tyson had a solid jab. His uppercuts were crisp. My goodness. But the one mistake I still see Tyson Fury doing is his hands are down around his waist. And look, if you think you're going to pull that with Deontay Wilder, no matter how much I hate Deontay Wilder, Deontay will make you pay dearly. And then you will be like Apollo Creed and die in the ring. Tyson, hands up. Up. It's not that hard. I don't know why he continues to have the hands down. It's a lousy defense. And if you say, oh, your hands are up, you're more susceptible to body shots. I'd rather get cracked in the body than cracked in the head. That's just me. But now we think, who's next for Tyson Fury? Who takes him on in the Garden? There's a little rumor going around Jarrell Miller. Now look, here's the deal. There is no way on God's green earth, none, that Jarrell Miller is going to come back from popping for every drug known to man by September, October. No way. No organization is going to put their trust in him. So there's no way. Personally, I like Alexander Povetkin. I mean, Povetkin just lost to Anthony Joshua. So if he loses to Tyson Fury, he's already lost to two of the three-way headed monster. You could then push Povetkin down and make him climb his way back up the rankings. I like that fight. The fight that the rumor that I'm hearing at really, Rudy, that's where I keep my hands down, is at the dinner table, more to grab. All right, I'm not going to keep my hands up at the dinner table, Rudy. But Kubrat Pulev, who is on suspension because, if you guys remember, he was interviewed after a fight, after a win, kissed a female reporter on the lips, and got suspended for it. Look, frankly, he could have been charged with a crime, so suspension, but he's on the verge of coming back. I really like that fight. Plus, he said after the Tyson Fury Tom Schwartz fight that he absolutely wasn't impressed with Tyson Fury. Yes, Brandon, I'm the man, but you is the man, Brandon. You is the man. And don't worry, your prize is coming, because after this week, I am settling down and I can get back to basics, and everything that's piled up gets cleaned out next week. So, Brandon, I know I still have your stuff in the house ready to be shipped. But yeah, so Pulev is the IBF mandatory for Ruiz. Ruiz is going to probably fight AJ in a rematch. So that belt might be stripped off of him. So technically speaking, it could be Pulev against Tyson Fury for the IBF title at Madison Square Garden. That works. That works for me. It really, really does. So yeah, I think that's the way the IBF should go, but the IBF isn't going to decide anything for another couple of weeks. That's all right, Brandon. You'll remember next week. And next week there's a lot of boxing. Remember, bare knuckle Artem and Paul Malignaggi is next week. Speaking of craziness, let's just cross over with other sports for a minute. Dana White has been given by the powers that be a 10-year extension to his contract. So Dana's not going anywhere. Dana keeps pushing for the Zuffa boxing. Dana, with the help of Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta, have now decided that they want to go and own an NFL team. Now look, owning an NFL franchise is a lot different than owning an organization like the UFC. At the UFC, owners can do whatever the hell they want. The board of governors at the NFL have to approve you. And if they approve the Fertittas, and I don't see why they shouldn't, Dana's brought in, it's going to be interesting because Dana White can't pull off the nonsense that he does with UFC fighters to NFL players. That's not going to fly. It's not going to fly at all. Now you start thinking, what NFL teams? The Carolina Panthers are a possibility. The Chargers are a possibility. The Denver Broncos, Bowden, their owner just passed away, is a possibility. And here's the other thing. Fertittas are based in Vegas. Dana's based in Vegas. The Oakland Raiders are going to Vegas. Will the Al Davis kids ever consider selling that organization? I don't think so. But here's the thing. The UFC was sold for $4.2 billion. If the Fertittas say to the Al Davis kids, here's $1 billion, here's $1.5 billion, here's $2 billion, it would be a hard sell for those kids not to sell. And Dana, Lorenzo, and Frank Fertitta are all Raider fans. So it would just all be some sort of meshed common sense. But like I said, Dana can't pull the stunts in the NFL that he pulls with the UFC. Can't call the shots. The players union won't put up with it, and the league itself won't put up with it. And this is a league that puts up with Jerry Jones's nonsense. Not going to hate on any Cowboy fans, but it's a bunch of nonsense. So, Brandon, who's my pick? Look, Artem, if that's what you're talking about, Artem and Paulie. Paulie's been retired for a couple of years now for a reason. He slowed down. Artem's still active. Paulie has weak hands. Artem doesn't. I think it's Artem. I really do. And I hate to go against Paulie because Paulie's a Brooklyn boy, and I normally stand up for my Brooklyn boys, but que sera, sera, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You are going to be reminded now. Please share the show. Please share it. Check out CycloneComedy.com and Psyche Prods on Facebook. See? Even you, Brandon, you hate SBG, you hate Connor, but you gotta go with Artem in this. It makes so much more sense. Check out Psyche Prods on Facebook. Hit up effectiveaggression.com. And when we come back, Yeah, we got some fun stuff towards the end of the show, but we got lots of questions that are going to be answered and unanswered because we don't know which way things are going to go. We're at the crossroads at so many topics. Who knows where we go? But we will be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller. This is Dan Morigliano. I'm Derek Winston.
I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller. This is Dan Morigliano.
And we is back as I scroll down on this. Okay, so let's break some stuff down, all right? And we've seen it more and more and more, not only in MMA, but in, not so much in boxing, but we've seen it in wrestling, especially in the WWE. We've seen it in the other major sports as well. Young talent right now just can't hang. They just, their chops aren't sharp enough yet. Okay, and that's a big issue, because if the young can't eat the old have to stay around past their prime. And that's one reason why Chael Sonnen actually retired, because he knew he couldn't. Chael knew deep down inside, admitting it or not, okay, yeah, he said, he's lost his aggressiveness and stuff like that. But here's the thing about Chael. As much heat as someone like TJ Dillashaw takes for taking EPO, lest we forget, Chael Sonnen took EPO as well, and he's just rebuilt his image. So Chael's looked at as, the good guy, even though he's the bad guy being the good guy. It's why Fedor has decided to stick around. It's why some fighters just question themselves. Okay, Karolina Kowalkiewicz is questioning herself. Aaron Pico, who is top prospect level as they come, is now all messed up in his head. And that's because they don't have a solid foundation. No, I did not shed a tear for him, Rudy, if you need to know. Understand this. The NBA and NFL have college. Major League Baseball and the NHL have minor leagues. Wrestling and boxing have the indie circuit, the amateur circuit, to build up. There is a plethora now of MMA fighters. Of course, not just the UFC, but Bellator as well. I can't speak as far as, like Cage Warriors or LFA or any of those guys are concerned. They just don't have enough seasoning. And that's the issue that has to be worked on. If a company like the UFC, and in fairness, the UFC at least has Dana White's Tuesday Contender Series, which, by the way, starts tomorrow. Dana White looking for a fight. Tough. They have programming built in to nurture young talent. Bellator doesn't. Okay, and that's the issue where fighters just don't have the oomph, to make it where they need to make it. Okay, I'm of the opinion that MMA fighters need 18 to 20 amateur fights before they step into a UFC octagon, before they step into a Bellator cage. No more of this 2, 3, maybe 4 amateur fights, signed to a contract, and boom. No. And at the same time, old talent has to be cut if they cannot hang. There's no reason why someone like a BJ Penn should still be fighting. There's no reason for it. Chael was smart enough to get out. Fedor, I'm assuming Fedor with this multi-fight deal is, and I haven't heard anything, I don't know anything. This is a total assumption on my part. I think Fedor has a 3-fight deal. Russia, New York / Connecticut, maybe San Jose, maybe Chicago. Chicago has a big Russian population, as my friend John James will vouch for. But yeah, I think just because, and I'll cut him slack because he wants to do this last retirement tour. I'll give it to him. Who do I think he fights? I don't know. I will not confirm or deny I spoke to Jake Hager. Actually, you know what? I will admit it. At the Garden for 222, I spoke to Jake Hager about him fighting Fedor, and he just gave me a slight smile. And if Jake Hager could beat a Fedor, that's a big head on his mantle. It really, really is. And it's something that is good. That is something that is exceptional. And it would put Jake Hager into possibly a title talk. I mean, you beat Fedor. Fedor's the GOAT, you know. Raises your level as well. But I don't know where it's going to go. But like I said, I do think that Bellator and some of these other organizations need to pump the brakes a little bit on signing these young talented people. You could sign them, but keep them in the LFA. Keep them in Fight Nights Global. Keep them in Cage Warriors. 18 to 20 fights, so you could get better at your craft. So this way you're not right out of the womb onto the big stage. Because most of the time, that's when a person flops. Now, as far as cross promotion is concerned, this thing that Bellator has with Ryzen, this thing that Bellator is possibly going to do next with one championship, that's fantastic. I love that. That gets my juices going. Because then you can truly see who's the best in the world. Okay? It's sort of like the MMA version of the NWO takeover of WCW. It's perfect. And if Dana can get off of his high horse, it would be the biggest thing in MMA, hands down, if the UFC was to match up against Bellator. Just think of the fight. Caldwell against Cejudo, Horiguchi against Cejudo. You know, DC Bader, it's been talked about forever again. You know? Musashi or Rory or Lima coming back to the UFC and fighting the new talent at the UFC. That would be sick. That would be great. There would be nothing better than that. I really, really think that that's what needs to be done. So, what else is going on? The excitement of the UFC's light heavyweight division once again. It is once again. Yes, we can talk about lightweight being the cream of the crop, the welterweight division being okay. But I submit to each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the 205 division in the UFC is about to get hot. It's about to get red hot, summer hot, fat man sweat hot. Look, you throw in Chris Weidman, you throw in Luke Rockhold, possibly Yoel Romero. You could match all three of those guys against John Jones. And there's great storylines there. The rematch between Luke and Weidman. The rematch between Luke and Yoel. Luke and Anthony Smith obviously is going to be a thing now. That is pure classic. 205, you know what? I'm going to pull this up, and normally I would not do it, but I just want to be absolutely certain on it. Okay, so Gustafsson retired. Everybody moves up a step. Corey Anderson against Luke Rockhold. Latifi against Weidman. Reyes against Yoel. There are so many great matchups that can form with everybody doing the smart thing, fighting closer to their natural weight, which is something I've been harping on since day one. It is a brilliant, brilliant move. And it's the better move. It's a better move for fighter health, fighter safety. Hey, Gina, how is you? How is the Nutmeg State? Because, you know what, Gina, I'm going to have to talk to you later because I'm going to be making a visit to Bridgeport, which I know is not a great neighborhood, later this summer. So, like I was saying, 205 this summer is going to be hot. There will be excitement for the rest of the calendar year in the light heavyweight division. It might go down as one of the best divisions in all of MMA. Take nothing away from the lightweights. The lightweights are sick killers. But I think the 205ers, I think they just have one step ahead of those guys. So, guys, coming up later on tonight, right here on Strong Island Television, where I need you guys to keep it here, is The Newman Show with Dennis Newman. Check out CycloneComedy.com. Share this program. gotta blow this up. Check out CycloneComedy.com. Hit up Effective Aggression, because I guarantee you, you will be happy that you did. And when we come back, we got a lot of games to play rest of the way right after this.
I'm Dennis Bermudez.
Anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
I'm Dennis Bermudez. Hi, I'm a creepy Ian McCall.
Yo, I'm Kelvin Gastelum. This is Mark Goldberg.
Anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Okie dokie smoky, we is back. And on this day in MMA history, 3 birthdays, just like last week. It's a repeat, it's 3 birthdays. Obviously not the same people, but on today's birthdays, Matthew Frinchu turns 26. Gavin Tucker, who I used to have a sweet little nickname, curse word, Mother Gavin Tucker, is 33. And the aforementioned is turning 36 years old today. Birthday, Chris Weidman. So, that's what happened on this day in MMA history. Now, haven't done it in a little while. There's some shakeups in the rankings, so let's do a quick pound for pound listing. Alrighty, so like always, I don't do a top 15. I think a dozen is much better. Quite frankly, because I like a dozen eggs, not 15 eggs. But anyways, that's just me. I know my pound for pound listing is going to rattle a lot of cages because there are names not on the list that you guys are going to say, how could you not put it on the list? There are names on the list that say, that you guys are going to say, Cyclone, are you freaking nuts? What is you smoking? Well, I'm not smoking anything. What I'm doing is I'm drinking Trop-A-Rock Diet Snapple. And if Brian Horan likes it or not, well, I'm thirsty. Anyways, my pound for pound list. Starting with number 12. The former welterweight champ, Tyron Woodley. T-Wood needs to be on the list, but obviously not top of the list, so I'll put him at 12. Number 11, Jessica Andrade. Now, I don't know if she can beat Weili Zhang in China because Weili Zhang is dangerous, but Jessica Andrade is one of the most complete fighters, man or woman, and she needs to be on the list. So I'm sliding her in at 11. The 10th spot for me is someone that's going to be controversial as far as you guys are concerned. You're going to say, Cyclone, you're nuts. I put Luke Rockhold at number 10 on my pound for pound list. I think Luke is one of the most complete fighters. I think he is just so complete. At 205, he's going to be dangerous. He is going to be a killer. He's not going to have to kill himself with going down to 185 anymore. It's a perfect spot for him, is number 10. Number 9, Max Holloway. The Blessed Era. I would love to put him higher, but there's just so much better talent than him, which is hard to say because he is so talented. His output is record-setting. Number 8, I have Kamaru Usman, the present welterweight champion. Look, some people have him on the list, some people don't. Right slap dab, somewhere in the middle, I slide him in. I slide him in at number 8. Number 7, until he gets smoked, until he loses his title, I am keeping Bobby Knuckles right there, Robert Whittaker at number 7. As far as 6 is concerned, she's so dangerous. Valentina Shevchenko. Bullet is the midway point because, wow, she's complete. She can beat you on the ground. She can beat you on stand-up. So many ways to beat you. She's just so darn good. God, if you don't have Valentina somewhere in the middle of your pack, on your pound-for-pound list, frankly, I don't know what you're smoking. Number 5, the baddest man on the planet, Stipe Miocic. I don't care if he hasn't fought in almost a year. Stipe is just that tough. Maybe, if anything, I would flip-flop Valentina and Stipe. But that Stipe belongs on the single hand for pound. Number 4, El Kukui, Tony Ferguson. The man is a freak of nature. Okay. He wrecks people. Last 7 fights, people have left busted up and bloody. And by the way, Cowboy, even though he doesn't have a broken orbital bone, Cowboy needs a CAT scan and medical clearance to come back. Otherwise, it's a 6-month suspension for medically. Okay. Number 3, I'm sliding Amanda Nunes in. She is as good as Valentina and Rose and Drage and every other female. Out of all of them, Amanda's the most complete out of all of them. So Amanda's number 3. Number 2, Khabib. I gotta put Khabib number 2. Khabib is Khabib. And number 1, pound for pound, still there, remaining the number 1 seed, DC, Daniel Cormier. Some people say no, some people say yes. I say has to be. It has to be him. So, therefore, that is my pound for pound listing. Now, I think it's perfect time right now to do everybody's favorite part of the show. Let's give away a prize. Let's do the raffle. Okie dokie, let's find out which one of these cardboards I have the questions on, which would be helpful. Question number 1 comes from Kenny Hodgkins. Who's your pick for the Grand Prix? Who is your pick for the Grand Prix final? Rory or Lima? I hate Henry Cejudo, that's why. And he's creepy. You know what? I love Lima. Lima is... Rory won the first time, but I think Lima is going to wreck that lead leg of Rory's. I think Lima is a beast, and I think Lima wants that belt. So, I'm going with Lima. Question number 2 comes from the very busy on the thread, Rudy Asher. So, Rudy, good thing you're on the thread. You could hear your answer. Your question: if you were starting a wrestling organization, who would be the first 3 you'd sign? And you know what? When you sent this question in, I started thinking about it. And I'm not going to pick 3 people. I'm not. If I'm going to start an organization, you can't start with 3. Well, you do. You start with 1, but 3 isn't really an organization. If I was to start an organization, I'd want to start with 12 people. once again, a dozen. I'd go for men, for women, for tag teams. And the way I broke it down is if I had an actual budget. So it's not just like picking all upper echelon. You got to pick some middle, some low level, some mediocre, a couple of high level guys. And that's how I broke this down. So here is my list of people who I would sign Rudy Asher. I'd go with Matt Riddle. I think he's complete. I need a big guy. I need a big burly monster. I'm going Braun Strowman. I want someone young and fresh. I'm going Anthony Nese. And I want someone young, hot, and just needs the true chance. I'm going with Sonny Kiss. As far as the tag teams are concerned, I'm going with the War Raiders. They're the bigger guys. I'm going with Gorillas of Destiny. They can match up well. I would sign the Young Bucks. Okay, they are the hottest property in wrestling. And I would sign a team that I know from Staten Island, LAX. Back when they were EYFBO. And as far as women are concerned, I'd go with Rachel Ellering. I would put Rosemary on my organization. I'd put Ember Moon in my organization. And I'd also sign Kimberly. So there, Rudy Asher, are my 12 people that I would sign. Of course you're impressed, because I put some thought in it. Now, what you should do, Rudy Asher, is let Mr. Mark Holzer know who I picked, and make sure he watches the show, and he can say, wow, he knows. He knows this sport too. That's what you should do, Rudy. And question number 3 comes from Bernard Joseph Green, the red hot Bernard Joseph Green. Do you think they should get rid of the WWE wildcard rule due to other superstars not being able to crack either show? Of course they should get rid of it. Of course, Bernie. Like I spoke earlier about in MMA. When talent isn't good enough, they don't belong. They need to be put back either in NXT. They need to be put back in the training center. They need to go back to the indie circuit. They need to be retaught and sharpen those skills. So when they do come up to the big time, they're right at peak performance. Okay, that's what I think. Now, the other thing is, you have to get invested to like a wrestler. Okay, you got to put your heart, your time, and your soul into watching the sport, the sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. If someone's stiff, if someone's not good, you're not going to be invested. So that wild card rule, 86 it has to go. Plus the WWE being the upper echelon, not so much AEW yet, to our knowledge, needs obviously better writing. And that can help get you invested if the writing is better. Anyways, let's say we find out which one of these 3 lucky people wins a prize, huh? Alrighty, and the winner is going to be numero 1. Kenny Hodgkins breaks Bernie Joseph Green hot streak. Kenny, Yeah, congratulations, Bernie. 3 in a row. You're now done. The new winner, the new crown wearer, is Kenny Hodgkins. Now, just a reminder. Next week, Paulie and Artem, like I said, it's going to a lot to talk about there. Jermel Charlo is fighting. One of the sick in the head Charlo brothers. Going to be talking about that, and that's on Sunday, so you know if you're supposed to be a top-level boxer and they book you on a Sunday, not a Saturday night, not a Friday night, there's issues with you. And we have, obviously, lots of MMA to talk about. And maybe we'll talk some wrestling, too, next week. I don't know. Maybe the week after that, guests come in. Hopefully. Don't worry, folks. I'm working on a couple of guests. Really hoping to have one specific person come through. That's what you call in the business a tease. I'm not going to give you any names just yet. Keep following Psyche Prods on Facebook, and you will find out who that name is. So, like I say all the time, after me comes the Newman Show. So I want you guys keeping it here, because he's in the building. The Denster is here, right now, live, in the building. And he'll be here in a couple of minutes. So keep it right here on Strong Island Television. And until next week, like I always say, just because all of you are not athletes, doesn't mean none of you can't be athletic supporters. In the words of Mork from Ork, Nanu Nanu.